Good evening, afternoon, morning, depending on where you're watching this, everyone. Welcome to Schmoe Me the Money. Our recaps are back. We decided to take a break on What If, and then
because we did not care. It's
not
that we took a break. It's not that we took a break. It's that we just didn't care.
We
weren't passionate about it.
We didn't give two fucks.
Man, we were having trouble to fill 20 minutes of talking.
I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And Hawkeye, to be honest, I just forgot. And I'm like, you know what?
I really enjoyed Hawkeye, but I didn't feel like doing anything for it. So
I watched I watched the last episode, and that was it. That's all I've seen of Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's pretty sweet. Hawkeye's pretty fun.
To be honest, you could probably watch the last one and still kind of know what's going on.
I mean, everyone knows that the only reason to really watch the last episode, and that's why I watched it.
Knew it. Yeah. No, it was great. But we're here to talk Book of Boba Fett, or we just say Boba Fett. I mean, doesn't really matter.
No. Book of Boba Fett, Bob, for short.
Bob. Oh my gosh, Geoff, you are something else. But no, it's great to be here talking with you guys. Don't forget, everyone, we got a Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/schmoemethemoney. Go ahead and give your thoughts on what you thought of the season series premiere. Or you can talk shit to all three of us in there. I don't care. It's your money. You can say whatever you want. So, Boba Fett, where? You know what? This is a great place to start. It's literally how the episode starts. It's what I loved about this episode is the way it starts. It's literally after he gets knocked into the Sarlacc. You see how he escaped. I absolutely love this idea. Like, I know everyone was like, are we going to see how he escapes? And I'm like, yeah, we probably will. They didn't waste any time. Boom, right off the bat. I absolutely loved it. I love the beginning.
The beginning or this episode you loved?
The beginning.
Oh?
Right.
You just love the beginning? You didn't
No. I mean, I enjoyed the episode. I don't hate it, but I'm not like super over the moon about it. I enjoyed it.
I think it's Sorry, Geoff, go on. I think it's a good opener. I think a lot of people need to remember this is a 7-episode series, and we are not going to get a big bang from the open. We didn't with The Mandalorian. We didn't with Bad Batch. Like some of these shows need to build over time, and I think people need to remember that, because I've seen a lot of oh my god, I didn't see this, oh my god, I didn't see that, and I love Star Wars more than most things and most people. I thought this episode was brilliant. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think that that's where I feel about it. I think it's a very solid opener. I from the feeling of it, it seems like we have two parallel stories that they're kind of telling right now. One of them is filling in that gap from when he fell in the Sarlacc pit all the way up until the beginning of The Mandalorian, which I feel like, and then they're going to be doing the the current story of him, which is him taking over Jabba's place as crime lord of this area. And I think that it's good. I don't think that they're gonna if they continue this series past one season or whatever. I think that this is gonna be the structure we're gonna have for probably the whole season. But that's it. I think that premieres don't have to be explosive. They just have to kind of pull you in a bit, and it interests me to show that they have more than just he got out of there and then he got his armor back and that was it. There's more to it, and and then of course he seems to they put a lot of stress on that healing tank.
Yeah, is that a back to tank, Matty?
That's a back to tank.
They also literally called it a back to tank in the episode.
Okay. Sorry,
if you watched it,
I did watch it. I was just multitasking at the time, so I maybe missed some lines of dialogue.
I feel like maybe this is a thing with Favreau. I think this is one running theme that he likes to do. He likes to explore the theme of identity. And I think that that's going to be a big theme in this show as well, because the very first shot, or one of the very first shots we see, is the shot of him in the arena holding his dad's helmet. And then it goes into a story of how he loses that armor that has become a part of him and part of his identity. He loses it. It's been stripped away from him by a bunch of Jawas who, I love that scene. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I love the Jawas. I think they're
love how that's how he lost his armor, is he was knocked out and I love how he like starts ripped there. Yeah, and like he starts to wake up and then they knock him out again. I was like,
seedy little bastards, those Jawas, but I love them. I think
I'm curious if they're going to be like, if they're ever going to show like, all right, why did he decide to spray paint it green or whatever? Like why did he decide to change the color of it when it was his dad's? Like he decided to redecorate it.
Different colorway, I guess. You know, like just like a new pair of Jordans, like you got to change the colorway every now and again, otherwise it just gets boring.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying, it is cool though seeing him choke out a sand monster.
Dude, that was bad. I was like, that's the Boba Fett that everyone, when Empire Strikes Back, was like, that's our Boba Fett. I was like, it only took what, 40 years?
I mean, then again, I want them to like make sure that they have like a point to this, to having this character back, because, you know, on the one hand, like, yes, it's cool to see someone that everyone like mythologized in their mind as being awesome have their own new stories being told. On the other hand, the person they mythologized on screen in the movies was a guy who showed up, looked cool, and then immediately got killed, or like allegedly was just like killed. So this is, I want hopefully the story of him to continue to grow into something that I find really compelling. I found it interesting. I didn't find it super compelling yet, but that's that's the trappings of a premiere episode where you're setting things up. I want to see it be compelling, because otherwise it just feels like it could be Disney shamelessly mining every piece of nostalgia that you have for a property just for the sake of trying to build out everything. Like they had like 800 different shows that they wanted to do all about Star Wars, and
they wanted to do a Boba Fett movie at one point,
right?
But I think it was Filoni that was like, no one wants to see that.
No, it was supposed to be with Josh Trank and Fantastic Four happened, and they're like,
yeah, all that stuff kind of fell by the wayside. So they're that's why Kenobi is also a show and not a movie too. It's because but also, I mean, then again, it's funny. I brought this up recently, and because Matrix Resurrections recently came out, and in doing so, I rewatched all the movies, including the Animatrix, and the Animatrix is exactly like Star Wars Visions, in that it's just an anthology of a bunch of short form anime inspired pieces. But you know, when that came out in 2003, it was packaged together as an anthology movie. Star Wars Visions came out, and it was individual episodes of a streaming series. If Animatrix came out nowadays, it would be a series. If Visions was created back in the early 2000s, it would have been packaged as an anthology movie, direct to video, probably. So that's why like Boba Fett could have been a movie. I'm glad that they actually have it as a series, though, because if the story they're trying to mine is in the past and then in the present, and by present, obviously, I mean the present of the Mandalorian timeline, because, you know, present technically could be anything in the sequel trilogy past that is now present. But I'm glad that they're able to do that in an episodic fashion, because they're able to give a little more time to like the slow moments. But I'm excited to see it get more interesting. Than where it is now.
When I first heard that this project was in the works, and I knew that Robert Rodriguez was at the helm, seeing what he did with Boba and Mando before, I was like, hell yeah, give me Once Upon a Time on Tatooine. Like, that's what I want. Give me Desperado in space. This is what I want.
Yeah.
This, there may still may come in a further episode, but I like that they are building it to, like Geoff said, episodically. So we're getting to know Boba Fett a lot more, because at the start, like we said, he was just a dude who looked cool. That everyone was just like, that dude's a badass. Like,
I love the idea that you mentioned Desperados. I looked over at my phone and then my drink. So I don't know if you mentioned Robert Rodriguez there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, of course, like it's of course that's why, like, Desperado feels like a perfect example of it, like El Mariachi and everything, because that is Robert Rodriguez. Like, that is absolutely stuff that's all within his wheelhouse. So while it's Filoni and Favreau who are like the overall showrunners of this live action television universe, Robert Rodriguez is definitely probably like the main creative that's outside of those two for specifically the Boba Fett series.
And also, you know, the when they walk into the cantina and shout, I love that Max Rebo is still alive. I love that he's still there and he's still playing in the cantina.
I love the I don't want to call it a remix, because, but
do you know who performed it?
Who performed that?
Robert Rodriguez.
Really? Of course he did. He does so much of his own. He composes so much of his own music.
Like, he is his entire filmmaking crew. He doesn't need anyone. Like, he literally does everything.
Like Ludwig Göransson, by the way, doing more great work.
Dude. Give him everything. Give him every Star Wars copy for his
he's so good. But like, of course, Robert Rodriguez probably did all sorts of like little things that he's not even necessarily credited for. I mean, when he makes a movie, he does half the jobs. Like, the only time he didn't do all that was like his most recent large movie, Alita, where, because he had to do everything within the trappings of like the studio system, and even then it was at least interesting. I don't think it's like, you know, an amazing movie or anything, but he's someone who's able to bring that gritty sense of you know, like a filmmaker who has the dirt under his nails that his characters also do. And I think that that's the sort of thing that he's able to bring to this series, that even like Mando doesn't have that sort of thing that I think Boba Fett needs here, because he's traveling all over the place, and this is just Boba Fett and Fennec Shan just on Tatooine, just
Once Upon a Time on Tatooine.
By the way, Ming-Na Wen was so good in this. She's so good.
Bro, she's perfect, man. I love her.
By the way,
she's so good.
Isn't she like 50 and she looks...
I think she's like 50, 56, I think.
Amazing. She looks incredible. She's a fucking goddess. Like, she's... Oh my God. Damn. She does...
All right, Buck, I understand. Buck, you're sounding real thirsty here. I need you to just take a drink. No, don't do that with your drink. This is... Buck, you're a creep, dude. Don't do it. Stop.
Okay.
Nope. Don't like that.
Why? Another one of my favorite moments is when the mayor's aide comes in during the tributes. I'm like, this man is about to fucking die. Like, I almost thought that Boba was just gonna grab his gun and just shoot. I'm like,
And I think that's an interesting dynamic between Boba and Fennec.
58.
She's 58, Jesus.
Right? She looks like she's 38.
Dude, she's old enough to be my mother, but...
Yep.
Regardless. I love the dynamic between Fennec and Boba, because even though she even says, like, you know, in times like these, fear is, you know, you can always go to fear. Like, you can always rule with fear. You know, Boba wants to rule with respect. But it was like, she wanted to feed the guy to the Rancor, but it's like Boba seems like he's still learning on the job, because he even said, he's like, I'm the crime lord. I thought he's supposed to pay me. Like, what the hell is this? Like, this isn't how it works. What the hell? So it seems like he has these ambitions and these aspirations, but I don't think he's thought too much about how he's going to get them. And I think that could potentially be problematic down the line. That could lead him into some situations that could be very unfortunate for him. I mean, we already saw the dude get the crap kicked out of him. He got mugged by Jawas twice. He got beat the crap out of by the Tusken Raiders. He got beat the crap out of by those guards who, I want to say they're Crimson Dawn, but I don't think they are. I think they're the mayor's people. But
Yeah, I think they're just people. Obviously, something that must have been the second visitation or whatever. That guy. I don't know if you ever watched Veep. I recognized whoever the actor was that played the mayor's guy who showed up. Was Julia Louise Dreyfus's like sniveling shitty ex-husband from
He's
Veep.
a good shit weasel.
He's an awesome shit weasel. Like, so I was like, oh no, he's perfect for this douchebag role. I'm very curious of who the mayor could be. I don't know who it could be because I'm not as familiar with the wider Star Wars lore. So it depends. I mean, like who Matty, as someone who has been on, who has been into so much Star Wars stuff, like who do you think it could be that's like mayor of like this district or area in Tatooine around this time?
Part of me would want to, like, fan theory, want to say Watto, but I don't even know if he's still alive.
They are in Mos Espa, by the way.
They are in Mos Espa. There is
that actually threw me off.
If Watto showed up again?
Like that actually threw me off. I'm like, oh,
everyone had a problem with.
There was a creature, I can't remember the name of it, in a lot of the trailer materials. It looks like he's sitting on a big, like, kind of not a throne, but like a mayoral chair in like some kind of office. I think it could be that guy. That would be my biggest bet. But I think, I don't know, man, being in the Star Wars universe, the fan theories that go around sometimes are absolutely fucking
Is that
nuts.
the guy? So pardon me if I give a different color from the colorblindness here. He looks like he's like sort of like a purple dude with like a big hat that kind of like goes out wide that people were like tweeting about.
No, it's like, the guy that's like, his head is like curved up that way, and like he's got the two eyes there, like up the top there. I can't remember the name of the creature, which is why I know you guys are super good friends with Harper, and I'm glad you guys didn't invite him on to make me look silly. But
so the thing is, I wanted to, but because of the time difference for you, I'm like, let's try and just keep it to one additional person so we don't go too long.
But I think it'd be him. I don't know if he's going to be the main bad guy though. I don't think he's going to be the big villain. I think it's going to be just a bunch of crime syndicates that want.
Do you have any guesses from the trailer? And people were like suddenly like going all over the place of who that woman was. They had like a very distinct shot in the trailer that came up, and like sort of like, I guess she's on a speeder or something that comes up towards the camera. I think she had black hair, like very light skin. I don't know how to describe her.
I saw a lot of theories saying it could be Kira, from Crimson Dawn. So I don't think it'd be her, just because they've done a load of stuff in the comic books recently. The Crimson Reign story, the Bounty Hunters.
Jesus, he was in the middle of like a whole thing.
I had to. We brought up Gold Leader, and I had to. Hey, I could have loaded it. Like Matty has just lost his train of thought.
I love that video. Yeah, a lot of.
Shug, thanks for stopping by, my man.
There's a lot of theories there.
You're in the wrong one.
I don't know why it only uploads into a single channel.
I fucking hate that.
Did you guys cut that clip into like each of the different?
Yes, I did.
100%.
There was one stream where they were talking and I wasn't talking. I was cutting up each individual one.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't talk in a lot of streams. Sometimes you just kind of sit back.
Because I'm on a stream with you. I don't need to half the time.
Yeah, you're right. That's why we're a good partnership, because I'll do all the work.
Yes. You do all the on-camera work. I do all the behind-the-scenes work.
Hey, Matty, can you look up?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Just want to make sure you look like you were asleep.
Yeah. So I was actually moving my phone out the way so like I could address you guys properly. But fuck me, I guess.
I mean, come on. All you got to do is ask.
Why? Sure, there are plenty of other serious channels. We need to make things a little bit different.
I mean, if you want
not only serious, but Sirius XM
right now.
Sirius XM.
Hey, I like Sirius XM. They play some good stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, back to this. I don't know how much else to like talk about with this. It's light on plot, but it's pretty solid on setup.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering where you were going with that, where you said it's light on plot. I'm like, I don't know about it, but yeah, this was a total setup episode.
And which is fine. That's what a lot of premieres
character
go for.
Building, as we like to say,
or
character
not,
building episode.
even if not necessarily building, more like just kind of, I don't know, putting the pieces in, like where, like kind of like setting some pieces. Like, where is he? Like, okay, so he's a crime lord, but he's not a crime lord that like has. He says he doesn't want to rule by fear, and he wants to rule by respect. All right, cool. Well, that's one thing that he doesn't have right now is respect, and it seems like when he just that's like a big thing I think that he needs to like work on is, of course, he expected a tribute from the mayor, and instead the mayor wants the tribute from him. And so he's like, oh, well, I want respect, but he didn't do anything to earn respect.
And even when he goes to the cantina,
yeah.
When he goes to the cantina, he talks to the twerk. He's just like, "Look, I'm the one that's replacing Bib Fortuna. Like, I'm in charge now." And she even gives him a look of like, "Okay, sure." And like they give him the helmets back, and they're just like, "Okay, you can be on your way now. We know this place is run by you." But she gives him that kind of look of like, "Okay, sure, buddy."
Exactly. So I think that I'm thinking of the best way to put it. I think that he is probably I don't want to say he's in over his head yet. I think it's that he doesn't quite know what he's getting into.
Yeah.
He has expectations for himself that he needs to probably like temper.
Delusions of grandeur, I would say.
Maybe not. I don't know if it's that specifically, but
because the Huts are they were a massive cartel, and now they're wiped out. They're gone at this point. And he's stepping into those shoes, especially Jabba, who was like one of the most powerful ones of the Hutt clan, and he's stepping.
And you got to wonder, like, Bib Fortuna, like, what the hell was he doing in that period? Like, it looks like, and now, like, not to body shame, but from the post-credit scene of Mando versus, you know, when we saw him in Return, he got a little thick there. He
put on some pounds.
Gained a little weight. And it's obvious he just was like, hey, because I was kind of working with him. Cool. Now what is it? The Gamorreans.
Yeah, the Gamorreans. Yeah.
It's cool that he was like, that's exactly the kind of thing that when the Gamorreans were like, yeah, we'll just work with you, sure. Like, because he was like, hey, I'll give them a thing. Why not? I'll give them a choice, and they were like, yes, absolutely. I think he just assumed other people would do the same, but like outside the Gamorreans, it's just Boba and Fennec. Like, they're just ruling over just the two of them. If enough people fought against them, that they would be done for. There's like the mayor is clearly, if that is the mayor's people that attacked him, they clearly are like outgunned. They're outmatched. So at the moment, at least.
And I think a lot of it is, again, Boba, he's not this super badass that everyone thinks he is. Like, he's lost before. Like in the recent comic book arc, he loses Han Solo. He takes him to a doctor because his carbonite is melting essentially, and Han's gonna die. So he takes him to this doctor. He has to return a favor, and he has to do something. He returns, and the carbonite's gone. So he essentially loses Han, and he has to get him back and take him to Jabba and all this. But so he's not this super ultra badass. So he's being thrown right in at the deep end. He's essentially going from hitman to overall crime lord, and that's a massive jump. You watch any Mobster movie, like, that's a huge leap. And I don't think I think he will become over his head, but
maybe he'll actually be the so-called crime lord that he thinks he is by the end of this season. But we don't know. So
I don't know. He may. I think it was Favreau the other day came out and said that you don't need to watch Mando season 1 and 2 to get Book of Boba Fett, but you need to watch Book of Boba Fett to get Mando season 3.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I
figured this is like a not a sequel series, a side quel.
Season 2.5.
Yeah. It's a spin-off series that plays into it. So
it's been so long though since we had like it feels like freaking
it has been a year.
It feels so much longer.
It does.
I mean, I don't want to hear you complain about it, man. I had to wait 2 years for Succession season 3. Had to wait like 4 or 5 years for like a season of Curb Your Enthusiasm to come back. If you're a fan of Red Dwarf, Matty, I don't know if you're a fan of Red Dwarf.
I'm not a fan, but I'm aware.
Yeah, like, man, that show has had 12 seasons or whatever, and like that show has been around since 1988. There's only 74 episodes. Like that show had a 10-year break. That show comes back every several years. Like, it's okay to wait a year or two. Like, you let them develop at their own pace. Of course, also, for a lot of people, COVID definitely played a role in certain delays. But like, let them. I don't really care how long it's going to take. Like, you're talking about, like, oh my god, it's been so long since we had Mando. Good thing there's been literally 8 million other things that have come out in the interim.
And I think a lot of people are still kind of like, obviously we're of the generation of growing up, we had to watch things a week at a time. But then you have the streaming, the fucking binge culture.
Have you seen what was it? I think some older person tweeted this out, and I don't know how true it was, but like, there are people that actually feel this way, where they were like, I just heard like a younger guy say like, they really like this brand, this new week-to-week model.
Oh my god, dude.
New.
That kid would not have survived the 90s.
Or literally any other decade of entertainment with television.
Right. But I think it lends more to the anticipation of what's coming up. But also with a lot of people with this episode, they're like, it didn't hit for me. I guarantee you they'll watch next week and they'll be like, okay, this is starting to pick up now, which it will. I mean, you even get like one scene in particular I thought was quite cool was the scene by the campfire in the Tusken Raider camp, when you have the dog, the Mastiff, that's there trying to like ease his way in. He's like looking to see, is Boba like trying to cut his arms, and then that Rodian absolutely snitches him out. I'm glad that Rodian got absolutely smashed, because that dude was a snitch.
Totally crushed.
And that one thing I did love was that creature. I've never seen anything like it, so I don't know what the fuck it's called. But it reminded me of something like old school monster from like something like Jason and the Argonauts and something like that. Like very old school, not claymation, but like, how Lucasfilm loves to use.
No, I get what you mean. Like something crazy. Well, I don't know about you. I watch most things when I have the option with subtitles on at this point.
Oh, I've done that for so long now that it feels weird to not do it.
It only came up. It came up as Sand Monster.
Okay.
Like it's like Sand Monster makes a sound or something like that. Like Sand Monster grunts. So it didn't even give a name to it. And I'm sure there will be people that can say what the name is.
Thomas Hopper. Yeah. No. So the only time that I don't watch with subtitles is when it's severely delayed. Like it's like 5 to 10 seconds off. Like I was like, you know what? Let me just turn it off. It's too much for hassle.
But then you get these Star Wars fans that will, like, they'll watch it with subtitles in a different language because it might pick up something. Like, people go to crazy depths to pick out any minute detail. And as much as I love Star Wars, I don't give a crap enough to go through that. I'll just wait until it comes out on like a Star Wars Newsnet or Alex will talk about it on Star Wars Explained or something. I'll wait for that. Like, I'm not going to go super in depth like that. But it's there was a lot of, I feel, not world building because we've been to Tatooine so many times, but I like the continuing to humanize the Tusken Raiders because you had like the little kid, and I love that scene where all the kids come around and they're just beating the crap out of Boba, because it made me think of like and the dad, like the elder, is like just standing there, because it made me think of like, imagine you're on a plane and like the kid behind you is kicking, like you're kicking back your seat, and you turn around and the dad's looking at you like you're the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of made me think of that. I thought that was pretty funny. And then at the end, you have the kid taking the credit for killing the sand monster, but then the elder's just like, I know it was you. Like, here you go.
They gave him a little bit of water, and that like his reward for all that was a sip of water, like untouched.
Yeah, that little kid was a dick, by the way, too.
Seeing the Tusken Raiders drink water, I'm like, hold on a moment, wait, where's their mouth? Like, is that a mask that they're wearing? Is that their face? How do they drink? Like, these are the things that went into my mind, and the show was like, you don't need to know. And I'm like,
you don't need to know about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
It's not important. Not important there. Do you guys think this would have benefited from what Disney has done in the past with certain ones where they dropped the first 2 episodes?
No,
or
not here. I think that the way that the episode ends, it ends in a way where it has the kind of setup where it's fine being left off at this point. Like different shows that are episodic in nature benefit from episodic versus binge model. Like, for instance, here, a lot of people don't like it. I didn't hate it. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Not that it was great. Arrested Development season 4, right? I don't know if you ever watched the show Arrested Development.
Nope.
So, well, just for an example here, the first 3 seasons, the original seasons, they were on TV on Fox, I believe, and they came out week to week, and that's how it was designed because it was a sitcom. When it was picked up years later to do a new season on Netflix, they designed the show so it was like 18 episodes or something like that, and the episodes were between like 30 to like 45 minutes long each. And they also did this thing where it wasn't in chronological order. Random scenes would happen, and there would be an episode where there's the punchline, and then 3 episodes later is the setup to the punchline. And the show was built specifically because that was early in the age of streaming. So it was built specifically to be binged. And then years later, before season 5 came out and disappointed everyone, they recut the series so that way it could be episodic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the line. I think that the bingeable version of it was actually really solid overall. Then there are other shows where some of the Marvel shows, for instance, I think Hawkeye benefited from having. I think that the entirety of the show,
WandaVision definitely did.
I think WandaVision should have had the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
All at once. That's how it was supposed to be. And then they ended up, I don't know if it was because of production difficulties with like trying to get stuff done under the wire. They needed an extra week, so they only did 2 episodes because critics were all given 3 episodes. So they binged all 3, but people who watched the show only got the first 2. It makes sense to have the first 3 all together. And then it becomes episodic. So the way some of these stories are told, I think that Hawkeye, I really enjoy Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye's storytelling and the stuff they do would have worked better if it was one where all episodes dropped together. Or if they did 2-2-2. Because like something that FX has been doing recently, the channel FX, and then they do, and it goes into Hulu. They do everything now. They've been dropping everything 2 episodes at a time in each week. So I had no idea. Like I didn't catch the new season of It's Always Sunny. This season is 8 episodes. I had no idea that after a month it was already done because they did it in 4 weeks. Boom, 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 boom. 2 episodes at a time. So sometimes that works too. I mean, It's Always Sunny is episodic anyway. It's all, you don't really need to watch one to watch the others, that sort of thing. Loki worked having it 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, and I enjoyed Visions, but them putting every episode out and me watching it all in one day, I was very much like, okay, I watched it now. I can put it to one side. What's the next thing?
Yeah, I think that Visions was one that could have had something like special done to it because of its anthology nature, the short length of their episodes. They could have done something where it was 7 episodes or 9 episodes.
9.
They could have done like 1 to to start. They could have done some special thing where it was every day of the week they drop stuff. But they're like sticking to this like Wednesday model.
But you know what I mean? It was like it's very like it was there, now it's gone. Now like no one talks about Visions now. Like
that's streaming.
Yeah. And that's
like all of streaming. When's the last time you thought about the Tom Holland movie with Robert Pattinson, The Devil All the Time?
Probably the day
it dropped, right?
Yeah. Like I watched that movie one time.
There was a giant big budget Tom Clancy adaptation starring Michael B. Jordan that came out in April, Without Remorse. Who thought about that movie after like a week after it came out? That's the problem with a lot of streaming stuff. That was on Prime, yeah. That's a problem with a lot of these like streaming things with the way they're released. So episodic stuff really does help keep it in the conversation, but I think that it all has to do with the structure. And I think here specifically, I'm fine with it being one episode first. It's 7 episodes long. I think that it's going to work well to be every week. I don't actually care if there's a little bit of filler. Sometimes you need filler because you have the story you need, but you needed to get a little further because maybe you. Like for instance, it seemed like something that seems they want to do is Jurassic World, those bad movies. The story that they wanted to tell that they came up with.
The first one's not so bad.
Yes, it is. The thing that they wanted to. Man, he's shunning me as if I'm talking the truth about Man of Steel being a piece of shit. So the thing is, like Jurassic World Dominion happens to be the story that they've wanted to tell from the beginning. And it's the third movie. They have movies. They had a first movie and then a second movie, Fallen Kingdom, come out that help like build up what they wanted to say in the beginning. Then like those stories are like nothing. They're filler stuff. They're just like, oh, redo this and redo that. They're just kind of putting the blocks in there because you have to put like, oh, well, we need these 2 little pieces of information from this movie and these 4 from this second movie in order to do everything we want to do later. So, I think hopefully the fact that it's 7 episodes as opposed to like 8 or 10 or whatever means that they've kind of cut as much fat as they can.
I mean, Andor's going to be 12. Andor's going to be 12 episodes long.
Interesting.
That's a slow burn. That is a slow burn.
Yeah.
Well, we have no idea. We don't know what's going on with Andor. Like you're saying, slow burn. We have no idea what they're going to be doing in there.
Wasn't that the second show that got announced? After Mando,
it was one of the earliest ones, yeah.
With Tony Gilroy, like from being the guy who came in to like save the last act of Rogue One, to being like, all right, now I'm the guy in charge. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll have to say.
What did you guys think about the length of this episode, like the timing? Because I thought it was just right.
I don't have a problem with like these runtimes for Mando or any of this stuff.
Me neither.
I'm fine with it being that long.
I'm seeing a lot of people say the one critique is they're saying they're too short. I'm like, no, they are the exact length that they're needing to be. I've never had a problem.
If you go back and think of like when we were kids and we would watch shows, like how much time would be dedicated to commercials and previews.
It's usually 42 to 43 minutes. I think this one was 38 with credits.
38 with credits.
Which means it's about 30. It's about 32 minutes. Because remember, like Disney Plus credits are like 7 minutes. So it's about 32 minutes.
That's how many people work on these shows.
Just use a smaller font and put more names on the screen.
Well, they also, if you recall, the first like 2-3 minutes of their credits are all actually like whatever their like artwork stuff is.
I do love
just
the
like
artwork.
the artsy really sort of stuff where they show like the main stuff. But then also the reason why credits are so long is because they also have all those extra screens where they're showing all the extra dubbing and stuff for all the different regions, because they have to put every single fucking region like that they happen to distribute it for into every single one of these videos that they put up. So, but anyways, I mean, I don't really think that there's too much more to discuss when it comes to this episode. We've already been on here longer than the episode itself.
Hey, at least we're doing better than we did with freaking What If.
Well, that's because What If was like 10 minutes worth of interesting stuff to say across the whole series.
I tried with What If. I just couldn't.
It's fine.
Didn't hold my
The show's
attention.
fine, and
And I can't even say it's an animated thing because I love Clone Wars and I love Rebels. It was just
I didn't like the animation style of What If.
And the fact that they killed Tony Stark in every single episode, I was like, okay, like we get it.
Mm-hmm.
You want it. You want to kill Robert Downey Jr. to, get whatever he's done. I don't know, but it just seemed kind of stupid. But I'm excited to see where this show goes going forward. I think they are willing to take a gamble on Boba Fett as a character outside of the armor, and I like that. I think that's a nice little gamble that could pay off because of how great Tamora Morrison is. I mean, you even look at the action sequences in this, like, yeah, they were a bit choppy, but you got to remember Tamora Morrison, he's getting on in years. Like, he's not going to be able to do a lot of like the stuff that say a Keanu could do in John Wick.
By the way, isn't that cool having Tamora Morrison have his own? He's the lead of something, of like something huge.
Yeah,
that's
that
cool.
man is
Ming-Na Wen. When's the last time she was like the lead of something huge where she was acting in person? Okay. The only other thing that I can pull off the top of my head is when she voiced in Mulan.
So it was a co-lead, but the thing is, it wasn't huge. Not a lot of people watched it. It was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a bit. Wasn't the best. It's the first 2 seasons are decent, but after that, it gets a little confusing.
Wait, did you say the first 2 seasons are decent? Because everything I heard was that's where like most of the shitty stuff began with it. It doesn't matter. I don't really care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're not talking about that here.
I'm just saying that was
Lucasfilm seemed to really like her because she's in Mando, she's in Bad Batch, she's in this now. So they seem to be giving her the push that I think they wanted to give to someone else who will remain nameless. I think that they are now giving Ming-Na Wen that push, and rightfully so, because she is so freakishly talented.
Hopefully they do a good job putting Rangers of the New Republic storylines to work.
Apparently she did a lot of her own stunt work for this show, and if that was her that was doing some of that stuff on the rooftops, then salute, because that was awesome.
Some cool parkour. Matty, it was great getting to see you here. Where can people find you? What are you up to?
So you guys can find me on Twitter, Matty Gunner, Instagram, Matty_Gunner. You can follow my band, Shadow of Azrael. What am I doing? We're bringing Scoundrels of the Force back soon. I don't know when. I think it's either next week or the week after. So we're obviously going to be talking Book of Boba Fett. We're going to be talking Kenobi, all Star Wars stuff that comes out. That's myself, POD, Richard Eric Jarvie, and Bedore. And yeah, that's over on POD Projects. So where you can find me. Really appreciate you guys having me on. Glad that you moved it a little bit earlier so I could come in and talk. I love coming in and talk with you guys. Obviously, you guys are the best.
That's awesome. I'm very disappointed that you had to advertise a PLD thing, but
hey man, you guys were getting along fine in LA. I was impressed you guys didn't kill each other.
I really think that you need to stop talking about what happens behind the scenes. Okay. Buck, where can we find you?
You can find me here, Twitter and Instagram at BrennanBuck88. You can see me on this channel. Don't forget, we have a Schmoe Me the Real tomorrow, where we're just gonna hang out. It's gonna be kind of a not quite New Year's Eve, little hangout, chatting, shooting the shit, having fun with. I can't say our boys anymore because there's no longer just guys over there. Our friends over at Spin from the Reel on What Reel Entertainment. I believe the show is on their channel tomorrow. Make sure to go ahead over there and subscribe. It's What Reel Entertainment. Make sure to follow our show Twitter, Schmoe Me Money. We don't tweet a lot. Maybe that's something.
It's my job, and I just don't do it.
I could tweet too.
You could do it, but you're bad at it, so don't.
I don't know what you're talking about, Shug. I really don't.
Did Shug ever give you that $200?
No, he didn't.
All right,
he also didn't pay for my drinks at Spectacular, but I just chose not to say anything about it. But no, make sure to go ahead and follow them over there. If you haven't subscribed to us over here, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're at 215, slowly growing. We'll see if we bring back our panel show next season with the Schmoedown. Right now, how the season's working next year, we're not quite sure. So we haven't made a definitive decision on what we're doing, but it'll be fun. Also, can check us here the next 6 weeks doing Book of Boba Fett recaps with the three of us.
Don't put him on the spot, you fucking dick. Don't do that. You're an asshole.
I try.
You're an asshole. Goodbye.